News every 15 minutes, weather every 10, and sports twice an hour.
Newstalk KGVO, AM 1290 and 101.5 FM.
You're listening to Montana Morning with Peter Christian.
The town of Pablo is in mourning. Good morning, everyone. It's Montana Morning. It's Monday, November 28th, 2016. A little light snow falling in western Montana right now. We've got 31 degrees in Missoula. Our newscast this morning, sponsored by Ponderosa Dental, just off Reserve on 3rd. When you think of a great smile, think of Ponderosa Dental, proud corporate partner of Grizzly Athletics. The town of Pablo remains in mourning today after a 3-year-old child was run over by a 17-year-old driver on Thanksgiving Day. The driver then fled the scene. Montana Highway Patrol Trooper Charles Burton investigated the incident and said that the accident occurred just after 4 o'clock Thursday afternoon at the Northwood Trailer Park in Pablo.
The driver of the motor vehicle was backing out of the parking area. There were children outside playing, and this child just happened to be ran over by that vehicle as it was backing out of that parking stall.
Burton said the driver was apprehended after fleeing the scene.
And the driver fled the scene, and law enforcement, along with emergency personnel, fire ambulance, went to the scene. A short while later, while officers were on scene investigating, the driver of that vehicle that fled the scene was apprehended by law enforcement.
The driver was taken into custody and charged with negligent homicide and failure to remain at the scene of death or serious bodily injury. The victim's name was released as 3-year-old Philip Shrouds, Jr. Burton said the incident is still under investigation. Governor Steve Bullock is looking to Montana's Wildfire Fund to help make up budget shortfalls caused by the state's declining revenues. The Bozeman Daily Chronicle reports that Bullock's proposed budget for the next 2 years earmarks about $25 million of the Wildfire Fund for other forestry programs. By using the wildfire funding, the general fund, he says, can move toward a planned $300 million budget surplus. Budget Director Dan Villip said the wildfire fund is near record highs, meaning the state won't suffer from money being diverted to cover other costs. Republican State Senator Pat Connell of Hamilton, though, who sponsored the bill to create the fund, said the move could put the state's finances at risk in the case of a difficult wildfire season. The legislature is likely to make significant changes to Bullock's proposed budget before passing a final version. After an horrific bus crash in Tennessee took the lives of 6 people, including 5 children, many across the nation are raising concerns about safety on school buses, most of which don't have seat belts. Montana Highway Patrol Trooper Roman Zalawi said buses are excluded from seatbelt requirements by federal law.
The fact of the matter is that the seatbelt law in Montana, there are exemptions, and the exemptions are actually handed down to us by the federal code. Congress has a federal code 49 CFR 571, and it exempts certain vehicles from the requirement of having to have seatbelts, which it includes motor bus, which would be like a Greyhound bus, and school buses, as well as motorhomes and limousines and taxi cabs are not required.
According to Montana's Superintendent of Public Instruction-elect Elsie Arnson, the decision on whether or not buses should have seatbelts is complicated and ultimately rests in the hands of local school districts.
But we have a lot of interesting ways. Some districts purchase their buses. Some districts go ahead and contract out. There is a cost, differential on that, but it is definitely up to the school districts themselves to determine if they're going to retrofit their bus or if they purchase a brand new bus, if indeed it has seatbelts in it. So that's a local decision.
One aspect of bus safety that will likely become an issue next legislative session is better vetting for school bus drivers. A prior audit discovered some Montana school bus drivers had criminal histories, and a few even had drunk driving incidents on their records. During the holiday season, Attorney General Tim Fox would like Montanans to thank all public safety and law enforcement officers for the public service they provide. Communications Director Eric Sell explains.
Attorney General Fox asks that all Montanans take a moment over the holiday to think of those officers who have lost their lives in the line of duty and thank those that protect and serve in their communities. Fortunately, in Montana, we haven't had any law enforcement or public safety officers lose their lives in 2016, but there have been 128 officers that have been killed in the line of duty across the country this year.
Sell said there are multiple ways people can show their support for officers officers across the state.
I think reaching out to law enforcement and public safety officers in your community is a fantastic way to show your support and thanks for the job that they do. And if you want more information on law enforcement and law enforcement deaths across the country, there's a website called the Officer Down Memorial page. It includes nationwide statistics as well as state-specific statistics.
In Montana, the last officer fatality in the line of duty was last year in Great Falls. Montana's Commissioner of Political Practices says state wildlife officials violated ethics laws by allowing the Montana Trappers Association to use state equipment to campaign against a ballot measure in 2014. Commissioner of Political Practices Jonathan Model on Wednesday fined Montana Fish, Wildlife and Parks $1,500. That's $500 for each of the 3 violations the commissioner's hearing officer found. FWP spokesman Ron Osheim said the agency will contest the commissioner's ruling in court. Hearing officer Jamie McNaughton found the Montana Trappers Association used an FWP trailer and displays of fur-bearing animals 3 times to advocate against a proposed ballot initiative to ban trapping on public lands in the state. McNaughton concluded that FWP failed to take steps to ensure that state-owned equipment was not used for political advocacy. Modal adopted McNaughton's conclusions and recommendations. Well, the weather in western Montana has been downright balmy, considering we're coming now at the end of the Thanksgiving weekend. But that could change today. Meteorologist Lance Vanden Bogart with the National Weather Service office in Missoula said a cool wind from the north just might bring some light snow all the way down to the Missoula Valley floor.
Seeing a little bit of a pattern change with us coming under a trough here starting Sunday. So what that'll mean is some cooler air from Canada. So with that cooler air, the snow's going to be able to make it down probably to valley floors, and it looks like there's some possibility for that with some moisture on Sunday, but then Monday a stronger system is coming through, cool air in place, and that could lead to snow-covered roads here in valleys.
Yeah, Vanden Bogart lays out the forecast for the upcoming week.
The main one on Monday looks like it just lasts 18 hours or so, 24 hours, so that'll be through, and then there's probably going to be a break before anything else were to come down. And down the line, mid next week to late next week, it looks like there could be another system, but they kind of do have some breaks in between, so it's not a persistent day after day thing.
The snow, if it comes, will be too late, of course, for the general rifle season, which closed last night. Our news talk time now is 6:12.
News Talk, KGVO.
Missoula's official weather station.
Mostly cloudy to cloudy skies today with showers. We will see a wintry mix of rain and snow with our highs in the upper 30s. Tonight, low temperatures will drop back into the mid-20s with a few lingering flurries. I'm meteorologist Brooke Foster for KECI 13.